Morning everyone. Thanks very much for inviting me to come and talk to you about the work that we've been doing with Digital Challenge over the last year or so now. Can I just have a quick show of hands? Has anybody heard of Digital Challenge or any of the work that it's been doing in the city? Oh, that's great news. Great news. So I don't need to tell you too much about it. But what I'd like to do is just take about 20 minutes of your time to talk to you about what Digital Challenge was initially identified to do, what's been happening in Sunderland over the last year, things that you can expect to see coming soon, and some of our little bit longer term plans, and invite you after the presentations to come and have a chat to us up on the Digital Challenge stand. We're just next to the main doors. You can take away some leaflets, see how you can join in, and other things. You can meet some of the team. We've got about 3 or 4 of the team here today. So really we just want to meet you and have a chat to anybody that hasn't yet engaged with us or taken part in anything or benefited from any of the services. Digital Challenge was initially a competition. It was a challenge that government laid down to local authorities and their partners that said, tell us how you can use technology, how you can use digital media, stuff, computers, telephones, whatever it is that's digital these days, how you can use that to help people in your communities. How can you make life better? How can you make it safer? How can you make it more convenient? How can you make it simpler? What do people want to see? How can people become more empowered? How can they get more involved about having a say in their community, having a say in their council, what's going on in the city? And how are you going to use that technology? And come back to us in about 6 months' time and tell us what it is you've come up with as this fantastical digital challenge bid that you've spoke about. The winners, which by the way was Sunderland, out of about 300 and odd local authorities, our partners that were given the opportunity to bid, would be then held up after the 2 or 3 year period of the delivery of the things that they said they were going to do in the bid. They were the winners, and the winners would be held up as a national exemplar. So in other words, all eyes will be on Sunderland, and in particular the team and the delivery and its partners. All eyes will be on us to see how well our ideas went down, and whether or not they actually did have impacts on lives and make them better and safer and more convenient and happier and more empowered and more networked. So please, we're all in this together. We took this a slightly different way to some of the other bidding authorities. We went down to a big presentation in London and they said, if you win, tell us what you will do. And we said, well, we can't tell you what we'll do because we need you to give us the first little bit of money so that we can start doing some consultation with the people of Sunderland, because if it's to make their lives better and more convenient and happier and smarter, well, we need to ask them what it is that they want. So our bid, which was referred to at that stage in the process as BRAVE, which we debated on the train back from London. Does brave mean silly, or does brave mean really actually quite innovative and forward thinking? And actually it was the latter, lucky for us. What we did was they gave us a little bit of money and they said, well, go away then and tell us exactly what your people want and how it is that you're going to do all these things to help them. So we went to our close partners at CVS and at Community Network, and we engaged a few of the practitioners, community practitioners at the time, asked them to come along and help us to develop a consultation exercise. So it wasn't about the council sending out questionnaires, and it wasn't about us deciding that actually there was this fantastic new piece of kit on the market and we would like to use that, and how could we kind of shoehorn it into something in a community setting. It was about saying, please go out and see what the people on the ground want and what the practitioners want and what would make life easy for them. And I'm pleased to say, actually, Nicole, who was in her previous life then, was one of them, who helped us run that consultation, and Rachel, who now gladly works for Digital Challenge, she helped run the consultation as well. And it was quite a lengthy consultation process, and then we got feedback, and we had help from local primary school children who give us feedback from a young person's point of view. It came out that there was roughly about 8 things that people had feelings about, and we categorised them into more technology sounding criteria there. But really what it was how can we use telephones better? All the young people have got phones, how can we get in on that? E-champions, which you know, there are quite a few E-champions in the room, and for those of you that haven't heard of E-champions, that was a partnership project where we support people with technology, laptops training, equipment loan schemes and things like that. They said E-champions works really well. How about extending it to people who aren't currently just community practitioners, who may be beneficiaries of those community practitioners? So we extended that programme. Things like patient empowerment, health issues, how can we work with our partners in the Teaching Primary Care Trust and city hospitals to make people more health aware or to make their treatment more convenient at a time and a place that suits them. There's things like independent living, technology in the home, making it safer for somebody to live independently in their home longer because that's what they want to do. So there was a lot of things around what people wanted, and what we had to do was go away and speak to technology providers and people who knew about the technology and say to them, these are what our people want and these are some of the things they've come up with. Our community sector want to be more networked and more empowered. So we came up with virtual networking. Has anybody heard of Hexagon, the Hexagon meeting tool and Flash meeting? Some of the community websites, such as South Forum and Caulfield Forum, they use Flash meeting technology to put little films in their websites to make it more understandable and more accessible for people. You can use Hexagon to meet online. So it was about being able to connect with one another without having to travel the length and breadth of the city to do it when you've got really pressing business at your home organisation. So we came up with a range of different things that we thought this would be really quite good, and then we went back out to the consultation again and we asked people, was this the kind of thing you meant? And it was really quite favourable, and it was nice to go out and do the presentation and see people, the little light bulbs going on above people's heads as if to say, oh, that was kind of the thing I was getting at when I said that. They wouldn't have known about the technology at the time, but they knew what the problem was, and we were able to work with some really good technology partners to come up with some answers. The bid was awarded last year, and you may have thought it's gone very quiet on the digital challenge front. What we have been doing is getting the programme team together. So we have 5 project managers and some, crucially, more importantly, the digital challenge engagement team. So there are some very technical people, and then there are some very engagement, capacity building facilitators. Chris and Rachel are 2 of whom who are here today. James is the project manager, but I can't see him scanning the room. I think he might be out having a cup of coffee. But we have some really good staff on board, people who understand what it's like to engage with communities, people who understand what it's like being on the other side of the fence, being a member of a community of Sunderland, or having issues with a particular circumstance in their life. So what we have is a really good team, and we're very proud of the team that we've got. But what have we been doing? Well, we've been working on empowerment and participation and networking and delivering the benefits that we said we were going to deliver. And in real hard terms, that means that in addition to recruiting our staff, we've